The day after my wedding, the restaurant manager called me and said, "We reviewed the security footage again. You need to see this in person. Come alone and don't tell your husband. Before we begin, tell us where you were watching from. We are always curious to know." We hope you enjoy listening to this fascinating story. Anna opened her eyes, and the first thing she saw was the white ceiling of the bedroom, glowing in the soft morning light. She stretched, smiled, and turned her head. Beside her, one arm thrown across the bed, slept Daniel, her husband. Husband. The word still felt unfamiliar, yet it filled her heart with warmth. Yesterday had been their day, their wedding. Anna quietly slipped out from under the blanket, threw on her robe, and walked into the kitchen. She turned on the kettle, took the leftover wedding cake out of the refrigerator, a 3-tier masterpiece decorated with cream roses that everyone had admired, then sat down at the table. She broke off a piece of sponge cake, closed her eyes, and smiled. The memories of last night replayed in her mind like an old film reel. The restaurant had been perfect, a cozy courtyard, small and intimate, family-owned, with only 20 tables. She and Daniel had spent weeks choosing the venue and finally settled on that one. It felt warm, welcoming, and free of unnecessary extravagance. There had been around 40 guests, only their closest family and friends. Parents from both sides, a few friends, Anna's colleagues from the school where she taught, Daniel's coworkers from the auto repair shop where he worked as a mechanic, and of course the bridesmaids, Sophie, Marina, and Olivia. Anna remembered how her father had walked her to the altar. He wore a formal suit he had clearly bought especially for the occasion, and the whole way there he fought back tears. "You look so beautiful, sweetheart," he whispered when they stopped beneath the arch decorated with white roses and greenery. Then came the moment she saw Daniel standing at the end of the aisle between the rows of chairs. He looked at her as if he were seeing her for the first time. His eyes shone, and a trembling smile touched his lips. Tall, broad-shouldered, dressed in a dark navy suit, her prince. They had met only 6 months earlier. It still made her laugh to think about it, a bookstore in the city center. Anna had been searching for teaching materials while he was browsing the automotive magazines. She accidentally bumped his elbow while reaching for a book on the top shelf. "Oh, I'm sorry," she murmured, blushing. "It's all right," he laughed. "Let me get that for you before you bring the whole shelf down on yourself." He handed her the book, then asked, "You were a teacher, aren't you? How did you guess him?" "The look in your eyes. My homeroom teacher had the same one, strict but kind." They ended up talking right there between the shelves. Later, he walked her to her car, asked for her number, and called that same evening. After that, everything moved quickly: dates, evening walks through the city, dinners together. Daniel turned out to be thoughtful and caring. He always asked how her day had gone, and when Anna had a stressful week grading exams, he brought coffee to her workplace. A month later, he said, "I'm serious about you. I want you to be my wife." Anna had laughed then. "We barely know each other." "Then we'll get to know each other," he replied. "But I already know you're the one." Maybe it had all happened too fast. Her mother had been surprised. "Anna, are you sure? 6 months is so little time." But Anna had felt certain. With Daniel, everything was easy, calm, secure. He didn't play games, waste time, or confuse her. Everything about him felt honest and mature. He proposed 4 months later in a park beside a fountain with no audience and no grand spectacle. A simple ring with a small stone, but full of sincerity. "Marry me. I promise I'll make you happy." Anna took a sip of tea and looked at the wedding band on her finger. Gold, delicate, with an engraving inside. "Anna and Daniel. Forever." He had one just like it. They had chosen them together at a jeweler's workshop, arguing, laughing, trying on different designs. In the end, they picked the simplest ones: no stones, no ornate patterns. "The only thing that matters is that they were ours," Daniel had said. Yesterday, there was one moment Anna knew she would remember forever. The couple's first dance. A slow song was playing You Were Here Beside Me, her favorite. Daniel wrapped his arms around her waist, pulled her closer, and whispered in her ear, "Thank you for being in my life. I'm the happiest man in the world." Anna's breath caught in her throat. She held him tighter, feeling the steady beat of his heart. Around them, guests smiled, some recorded the moment on their phones, but to the two of them, it felt as though they were alone in the entire universe. Then came the dance with her father. He shifted awkwardly from foot to foot. He had never known how to dance. "Sorry, sweetheart, I keep stepping on your toes," he muttered. "It's okay, Dad," Anna reassured him, wrapping her arms around his shoulders. He was shorter than she was, so she had to lean down slightly. "You are a married woman now," he said quietly, almost under his breath. "Take care of yourself. And if anything ever happens, you know where your mother and I are. Always." Anna nodded, unable to speak. Her throat tightened with emotion. It was a special moment, the final dance of a father's little girl before she fully stepped into a new life. The guests celebrated until late in the evening. Games, toasts, songs, laughter. Daniel held Anna's hand at the table and sometimes kissed her temple. His friends told ridiculous stories from the auto shop. Anna's colleagues shared funny memories from school. And Olivia kept circling nearby. She had always been like that, loud, glamorous, impossible to ignore. A tall blonde with long legs and a talent for wearing tight dresses. They had been friends since university, although if Anna was honest, she had never felt especially close to her. Olivia was the kind of woman who loved being the center of attention, drawing admiring glances, flirting with everyone in sight. Still, inviting her to the wedding had felt necessary. An old friend was an old friend. Anna remembered how, at one point during the evening, Olivia threw an arm around Daniel's shoulders and laughed brightly at something he had said. "You were a smart man for finding our Anna," she declared loudly enough for everyone to hear. "Take care of her, she's pure gold." Daniel smiled and nodded. At the time, Anna thought nothing of it. Olivia was always like that, hugging everyone, kissing cheeks, hanging on people's arms. It was simply her personality. The apartment they lived in now, or rather, the apartment they had stepped into together for the first time after the wedding, belonged to Anna. It was a comfortable 2-bedroom place in a good neighborhood on the 4th floor of a brick 9-story building. She had inherited it from her grandmother 3 years earlier. Her grandmother had worked as an accountant all her life. She was careful, practical, and saved every penny. She had bought the apartment back in the 90s when prices were laughably low, and before she passed away, she signed it over to her only granddaughter. "So you'll always have a little nest of your own," her grandmother had said from her hospital bed. "Don't sell it, Anna. Keep it safe." Anna had never considered selling it. She did a modest renovation, put up light-colored wallpaper, replaced the living room furniture, and installed a new kitchen set. The result was warm, comfortable, and inviting. When Daniel first visited, he immediately noticed it. "It feels so warm here," he said. "Real. Like home." He himself had been renting a tiny 1-bedroom apartment on the edge of town. He said he was saving for a place of his own, but it wasn't easy on a mechanic's salary. Once they got married, the housing question solved itself. "Move in with me," Anna had said. "Why keep paying rent when we already have somewhere to live?" Daniel agreed without hesitation. Anna worked as an elementary school teacher at school No. 17. For the second year, she taught Class 3, a lively group of 25 children she loved with all her heart. The salary wasn't spectacular, of course, but it was steady. And with her grandmother's apartment, there was no mortgage and no rent to worry about. Life could be peaceful without constant struggle. Anna had never dreamed of luxury. Simple joys were enough for her: good books, Sunday walks, family dinners. The sound of footsteps behind her brought her back to the present. Daniel came out of the bedroom, hair tousled, wearing only boxers and a t-shirt. He yawned, stretched, and scratched the back of his head. "Good morning, wife," he said with a grin, leaning down to kiss the top of her head. "Good morning, husband," Anna replied, feeling a smile spread across her face. "Tia." "Yes. But why are you up so early? You could've slept more." "Couldn't. Too many emotions." He sat across from her, grabbed a piece of cake with his hand, and took a bite. "Last night was amazing, wasn't it?" he said through a mouthful of cake. Everyone left happy. Even Peterson, the restaurant manager, said ours was one of the most fun weddings they'd ever hosted. "Yes, it really was wonderful," Anna agreed. "Everyone made an effort and had fun. Even my dad danced." "Your father's a good man," Daniel said. "I'm glad he accepted me." "He accepted you right away. He said you seemed dependable." Daniel smirked, finished his tea, and stood up. "All right, I'm going to take a shower. After that I need to stop by the garage. My boss called, said an urgent job came in. You don't mind, do you?" "Of course not. Go ahead." He disappeared into the bathroom, leaving Anna alone in the kitchen. Only the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic outside the window. She glanced at the phone lying on the table. 10:55 a.m. Strange that no one had called yet. Usually after events like this, friends and relatives started calling early in the morning, asking how everything went, sharing their impressions, laughing over last night's moments. Then suddenly the phone came to life. The screen lit up. Unknown number. Anna frowned and answered. "Hello." "Good morning, Anna Sergeyevna." A man's voice spoke, formal but polite. "Yes, this is Anna. Who is calling?" "This is Mr. Peterson, the manager of Cozy Courtyard Restaurant. We hosted your wedding yesterday." "Oh, hello," Anna said warmly. "Thank you again. Everything was beautifully organized." "You were very welcome. But that isn't why I'm calling." His tone changed. It became more serious, tense even. "Anna Sergeyevna, I need to discuss something delicate with you." "Yes." She straightened in her chair. "Has something happened?" "You see, this morning we were reviewing our security camera footage. We had a minor issue with the system yesterday, so our technician came in to make sure everything was working properly." And the man hesitated. "Well, we discovered something on the recording. It concerns your event." "The footage?" Anna repeated, confused. "What do you mean?" "Anna Sergeyevna, I can't explain this over the phone. You need to see it in person. Believe me, I wouldn't disturb you if it weren't important." Her heart began to pound. Dozens of thoughts raced through her mind. Had someone stolen something? Had there been a fight among the guests? No, the evening had gone smoothly. Everyone had left peacefully. "All right," she said slowly. "I can come back." "When?" "As soon as possible. I'll be here all day. And one more thing, Anna Sergeyevna." He paused again. "Please come alone. Don't tell your husband anything. It's important." "What?" Anna nearly rose from her chair. "Why? What's on that recording?" "Come and see for yourself. I'll be waiting in my office. Just trust me, you need to watch it first." He said goodbye and hung up. Anna sat frozen, the phone still in her hand, staring into space. A cold unease settled inside her. What kind of strange conversation was that? Why did she need to come alone? And most importantly, what was on that footage? From the bathroom came the sound of running water. Daniel had turned on the shower. Anna swallowed, suddenly aware that her mouth had gone dry. Maybe it was some kind of mistake. Maybe the manager had confused her with someone else. But the tone in his voice had been serious, even troubled. People did not speak like that for no reason. She replayed the wedding in her mind, moment by moment. Everything had been fine, hadn't it? Daniel had been by her side. They had danced, laughed, accepted congratulations. Olivia had drunk a little too much, of course, and flirted with practically everyone, but that was normal for her. Anna hadn't noticed anything unusual. Or maybe, Anna frowned. There had been one moment when she danced with her father for a long time, at least 10 minutes. Daniel had disappeared somewhere. She hadn't seen him during that time. Later he had returned and said he'd stepped outside to take a work call. At the time it hadn't seemed suspicious. Now her head began to spin. Anna stood up, paced across the kitchen, then sat back down. She had to go. She had to see whatever was on that recording or she would lose her mind guessing. The bathroom door opened. Daniel stepped out of the shower, cheerful and refreshed, his hair still wet. "Listen, I'm going to get dressed quickly and head to the garage, all right? I'll be back by lunchtime, and we can eat together." "Okay," Anna nodded, trying to keep her voice steady. "I'll probably go see a friend too. Sophie left her purse here last night." It was a lie, but Anna couldn't think of any other explanation. She couldn't tell him the truth. "The restaurant manager called me and told me to come immediately to watch some recording, but without you. It would have sounded insane." "All right." Daniel kissed her on the cheek and went to get dressed. 20 minutes later, he was gone. Anna remained alone in the apartment. She sat down on the couch and wrapped her arms around her knees. With every passing minute, her anxiety grew stronger. What if it was something terrible? What if No, she didn't even want to think it. She dressed quickly, jeans, sweater, jacket. Grabbed her purse and keys, then left the apartment. She felt miserable. Her hands trembled as she pressed the elevator button. Every instinct inside her screamed, "Don't go! Don't watch! Leave it alone!" But curiosity and fear pulled her forward at the same time. The restaurant was about 20 minutes away by car. Anna got behind the wheel of her old sedan, another thing inherited from her grandmother, and drove off. The road felt endless. She turned on the radio, but the music irritated her, so she switched it off again. The silence felt heavy. When she arrived at Cozy Courtyard Restaurant, the parking lot was empty. The restaurant only opened in the evenings and was usually closed during the day. But the front door stood slightly open. Anna stepped inside. The same hall. The same tables that had been covered in flowers and ribbons the night before. Now everything had been stripped away. Bare tables stood in rows. Chairs were turned upside down on top of them, ready for the floors to be cleaned. "Anna Sergeyevna." Mr. Peterson stepped out from behind the bar. He was a man in his 50s, wearing glasses and a neatly trimmed beard. He looked exhausted, as if he hadn't slept all night. "Hello," Anna said quietly. "I came. What did you want to show me?" Without speaking, he gestured toward the staff hallway. "Come with me. You'd better sit down before you watch." He led her down a narrow corridor past the kitchen and storage rooms. They stopped at a small office at the end of the hall. Inside stood an old wooden desk and 2 chairs. A calendar from last year still hung on the wall. On the desk sat a laptop connected to a large monitor. "Please sit," the manager said, nodding toward the chair. He remained standing, arms folded across his chest. "Anna Sergeyevna, I want to say this first. I feel terrible about all of this. I thought perhaps I shouldn't show you anything, perhaps I should just forget it. But then I decided you deserve to know the truth. Better now than later, when things could become worse." "You were frightening me," Anna whispered. Her hands clenched into fists on their own. "What is on the recording?" He sighed, slid the laptop closer to her, and took the mouse. "We have surveillance cameras throughout the restaurant. 3 in the main hall for security to monitor guests and staff. But there's another camera in the storage room, where we keep equipment, dishes, and food supplies. We installed it after some expensive equipment was stolen 2 years ago." The camera is mounted in the corner, almost invisible. Guests don't usually go in there, but yesterday. He stopped for a moment. Well, see for yourself. He clicked the mouse. The image appeared. Black and white footage, slightly grainy but clear enough. The camera angle looked down from above, showing the entire room. The storage room was small, maybe 10 square meters, packed with metal shelves stacked with boxes, plates, and pots. In the far corner stood mops and buckets. Against the left wall was an old sofa, probably for staff to rest on during breaks. The timestamp read 21:43. Anna remembered that moment. Around that time, she had been dancing with her father. A slow song had been playing. He held her hand awkwardly, shifting from foot to foot. On the screen, the storage room door opened. A woman entered. Tall. Blonde hair loose over her shoulders. Tight red dress. Anna recognized her instantly. Olivia. The bridesmaid. She glanced back over her shoulder as if checking whether anyone was coming, then stepped inside. A second later, a man appeared in the doorway. Broad shoulders. Dark suit. Familiar walk. Daniel. Anna froze. Her breath caught in her throat. She stared at the screen without blinking, feeling everything inside her tighten into a painful knot. On the recording, Daniel closed the door behind him. Olivia turned toward him and said something. There was no sound yet. The camera had only captured video at first. He stepped closer. She placed her hands on his chest. He wrapped his arms around her waist, and in the next second they were kissing. Not a quick, careless kiss. A long, deep, passionate one. Olivia ran her fingers through his hair and pulled him closer. Daniel pressed her against the shelving unit. His hands slid down to her hips. They kissed like people who had wanted this for a long time. Like lovers. Anna couldn't tear her eyes away from the screen. It felt unreal. It couldn't be true. But the image did not lie. Her husband, the man who had sworn loyalty to her yesterday, who had kissed her in front of all their guests, who had whispered "You are mine forever," was now kissing another woman. And not just another woman. Her friend. Her bridesmaid. On the recording, they finally pulled apart. Daniel said something and smirked. Olivia laughed, throwing her head back. Then they sat down together on the old sofa. Olivia pulled a pack of cigarettes from her small purse and offered him one. They lit them. They talked. Anna could only see their lips moving, their gestures. "I'm turning the sound on now, Burr," Peterson said quietly. "The camera records audio too, but with a delay. Our technician adjusted it so the sound would sync." He turned the volume knob. Voices crackled from the laptop speakers, muffled at first, then clearer. "I thought I wouldn't survive it," Olivia said, taking a drag of her cigarette. "Watching you dance with her all evening, kissing her. Damn, Dan, I almost lost my mind." "Oh, come on," Daniel replied, slipping an arm around her shoulders. "Just be patient a little longer. Everything is going according to plan." "According to plan?" Olivia scoffed. "And what about May? She keeps whispering, 'Thank you for being here for me, dear friend.' It makes me sick." "You were not sick," he said with a grin. "You were an actress. You played your part perfectly." "Yeah, the devoted bridesmaid," Olivia sneered. "Tell me something, how much longer are we supposed to keep this comedy going? When are you finally divorcing her?" Anna felt the ground vanish beneath her. She sat there, fingers digging into the edge of the desk, unable to move. Each word hit her like a hammer blow. "Don't rush," Daniel said on the screen. "We need to do this properly. First she'll transfer the apartment into my name. Then we wait 3 or 4 months so it doesn't look suspicious. After that, divorce is easy. The apartment stays with me, and then you and I can finally live the way we planned." "And if she refuses?" Olivia asked it. "She won't," Daniel said confidently. "I've already started working on her." I keep saying we should put everything in both our names so I can feel like an equal owner. She thinks it's about fairness in marriage. Trusting little fool. Give it another 2 weeks and she'll run to the government office herself. Olivia laughed sharply, cruelly. God, you're a genius? Seriously. Making a schoolteacher fall in love with me was ridiculously easy. Well, Daniel shrugged. She was lonely, no man in her life. Working at a school for pennies, living a boring little life. Then I show up handsome, attentive, bringing flowers, giving compliments. She practically threw herself at me. That's true. At first I thought you'd actually fallen for her. When you told me you were marrying her, I was shocked. Oh please, Olivia. Daniel pulled her closer and kissed her neck. You know I only love you. Anna is just a way to solve our housing problem. She's got a 2-bedroom apartment downtown, mortgage-free. We'll sell it, buy ourselves something decent, and live well off the rest. Are you sure she won't suspect anything? Olivia asked cautiously. She won't suspect a thing. She's naive. Believes every word I say. Yesterday I told her I wanted children with her. She almost cried from happiness, he said with a smirk. Children. God, having kids with her would be a nightmare. She's so boring. Exactly, Olivia added. I remember back in university she was always so proper. Turned in every assignment on time, finished exams first, never went to parties. So dull. But she has a nice apartment, Daniel concluded. And that's what matters. They fell silent for a moment. Then Olivia turned toward him and placed a hand on his knee. Tell me something once this is over, can we finally be together properly? No more sneaking around. Of course. As soon as the divorce is done, we'll move in together. Maybe we'll even get married if you want. I do, she smiled. I've wanted to be your wife for a long time. A real wife, not that idiot sitting out there in the hall happy she got married. Daniel laughed and pulled her into his arms. They kissed again, long, hungry, greedy. Anna stared at the screen as something inside her tore apart. Tears streamed down her cheeks, but she didn't even notice. Every word, every sentence struck the deepest wound inside her. This could not be her Daniel. But it was him, his voice, his laugh, his gestures. All of it was real. On the recording, they sat there a little longer, then stood up. Olivia fixed her hair and checked herself in a small mirror from her purse. I should go back before Sophie starts looking for me, she said. Go ahead. I'll leave in a couple of minutes, so we were not seen together. All right. Olivia gave him one last kiss on the lips. Love you. Love you too. She left. Daniel stayed behind, lit another cigarette, glanced at his phone, then pulled out a comb and fixed himself up. He straightened his tie and walked out of the storage room. The door closed. The screen showed only an empty room. Mr. Peterson pressed pause. The silence in the office rang like metal. Anna sat motionless, staring at the frozen image. Tears dripped onto her hands, onto her jeans, but she didn't wipe them away. She couldn't move, couldn't speak, couldn't think. Inside her there was only emptiness. Black. Cold. I'm very sorry, the manager said quietly. I know this is horrible. But I thought you needed to see it. Otherwise that man would keep deceiving you. Anna said nothing. The words were trapped in her throat. She tried to process everything she had just seen and heard. Daniel did not love her. He had never loved her. Everything had been a lie from the beginning. The bookstore, the dates, the proposal, all of it had been a performance. He had played the role of a man in love to steal her apartment. And Olivia, her friend, or rather, the woman she had believed was her friend. Together they had laughed at her, made plans to trick her, use her, and throw her away. Anna Sergeyevna, the manager said softly. Would you like some water? She slowly raised her eyes to him. His face was full of sympathy. He stood beside her holding a glass he had already poured. "Thank you," she rasped, taking it. She swallowed. The water was ice cold and burned her throat. How long is the recording?" "About 7 minutes. I showed you everything. Can you send it to a flash drive? Or to my phone?" Mr. Peterson nodded. "Of course. I have a flash drive. I'll copy it now." He inserted the drive into the laptop, opened the folder, and dragged the file across. Anna sat staring at nothing. Slowly thoughts began to form in her mind. At first chaotic, broken, then clearer. And with every passing second, something new began to grow inside her. Not just pain, not just betrayal, anger, rage, a sharp, burning need to answer them. To make them pay. They thought she was stupid. A naive little schoolteacher who could be fooled with ease. A woman who would believe any fairy tale about love. A woman who would hand over everything she had because she trusted too much. And then they would discard her like trash and laugh about it. But they were wrong. Anna clenched her fists. Her tears dried. In their place came something cold. Something solid. Determination. "It's ready," Mr. Peterson said, handing her the flash drive. "The recording is on it. If you need anything else, let me know. I'm willing to help." Anna took the drive and closed her hand around it. "Thank you," she said, looking him in the eyes. "Thank you for showing me the truth." "You were welcome. I couldn't stay silent. I have a daughter myself, and if something like this happened to her, I'd want someone to tell her." Anna nodded and stood up. Her legs felt weak, but she forced herself to walk. She left the office, moved down the hallway, and crossed the restaurant dining room. Peterson walked her to the door. "Be careful," he said before she left. "And if you need anything, call me." "I will." She got into her car, closed the door, settled behind the wheel, and simply sat there staring through the windshield. The flash drive lay on the passenger seat beside her purse. A tiny piece of plastic containing the whole truth. The whole lie. Everything her life had been for the last 6 months, one giant fake. Anna started the engine. She didn't know where to go. She didn't want to go home. Daniel was there. Or rather, the man waiting there was someone she no longer knew. A man with her husband's face, but a rotten stranger's soul. She drove aimlessly through the city streets, past stores, bus stops, parks. People walked along the sidewalks, laughing, talking on their phones. Ordinary life. And inside her, everything had collapsed. Half an hour later, she pulled over near a small park, turned off the engine, and checked her phone. 2 missed calls from Daniel. "Where are you? I'm already home, waiting for you." Another message from Sophie. "How's married life, beautiful bride? Everything amazing?" Anna locked the phone and dropped it back into her purse. She stepped out of the car and walked along the path. A cold wind whipped through her hair, but she didn't care. She reached a bench, sat down, and stared at the bare trees and the gray sky. Thinking. She could simply walk away. Pack her things, move in with her parents, file for divorce, forget him like a nightmare. But something inside her resisted. They wanted to humiliate her, deceive her, use her. They wanted to steal her apartment, her life. And after all that, they expected to walk away without consequences. No, that would not happen. Anna pulled out her phone again, opened her contacts, found her father's number and called. And her father's voice was immediately worried. "What happened if... Why aren't you at home?" "Dad." Her voice trembled, but she steadied herself. "I need your help. Can I come over right now?" "Of course, sweetheart. Come right away. Did something happen?" "I'll explain when I get there." She ended the call. Then she dialed another number. Sophie, her real friend, the one she had known since school. Sophie, it's me. Are you free right now? I need to talk to you. Urgently. Anna, what's wrong? Your voice sounds strange. Is everything okay? No, it's not okay. I'm going to my parents' place now. Can you meet me there? Of course. I'm leaving now. Anna, what happened? You'll know soon. Just be prepared. It's bad news. Anna slipped the phone into her pocket, stood up from the bench, and walked back to the car. The flash drive still lay on the seat. She picked it up and clenched it in her hand. It was her card to play. Her weapon. And she intended to use it. Her parents lived on the other side of town, in an old 5-story building where Anna had spent her entire childhood. Their apartment was on the second floor, with a balcony overlooking the courtyard. When Anna pulled up, her mother was already standing outside the building, arms wrapped around herself. It was chilly outside, and she had rushed out wearing only her house robe. Anna, what happened? Her mother ran to her the moment Anna stepped out of the car. Your father said you sounded upset. Did you and Daniel have a fight? Anna embraced her mother and buried her face in her shoulder. And for the first time all day, she allowed herself to let go. The tears came again, but now they were no longer tears of shock. They were tears of pain and humiliation. She cried while her mother stroked her back and whispered, "Hush now, sweetheart, hush. Everything will be all right." "Mom, it's something awful," Anna choked out between sobs. "I don't know how to survive this." "Come inside and tell us." "Come on, darling." They went upstairs. Her father was sitting at the kitchen table. The moment he saw Anna, tear-streaked and pale, he stood up immediately, his face darkening. "What did he do?" her father asked grimly. "Did that husband of yours hurt you?" "Worse, Dad. Much worse." Anna sat down and wiped her eyes with her sleeve. The doorbell rang. Sophie. Her mother went to answer it, and a minute later her friend entered the kitchen, a small, round-faced woman with short hair. She worked as an accountant for a small company, was married, and raised 2 children. The most dependable person Anna knew. "Anna, you were scaring me," Sophie said, taking off her coat. "What happened if—" Anna took the flash drive from her purse and placed it on the table. "There's security footage from the restaurant on this. All of you need to see it." Her father brought out the laptop and turned it on. Anna inserted the drive and opened the file. The 4 of them sat around the table staring at the screen. First came the silent video. Daniel and Olivia entering the storage room. Then kissing. Her mother gasped, covering her mouth. Sophie cursed under her breath. Her father turned pale and clenched his fists. Then the sound began. The conversation about the apartment. About the plan. About the divorce. About how easy it had been to make a naive schoolteacher fall in love. When the recording ended, the kitchen was silent. Her mother cried into a handkerchief. Sophie wrapped an arm around Anna's shoulders and held her tightly. Her father sat rigid, jaw locked, staring at the wall. His face looked carved from stone. "I'll kill him," he said quietly. "I'll find that bastard and kill him." "Dad, no." Anna placed a hand on his shoulder. "Don't ruin your life because of him. He's not worth it." "How dare he?" her father hissed. "How dare he do this to you? I trusted him. I shook his hand at the wedding. Called him my son-in-law. I know, Dad." Sophie stood and paced the kitchen, then turned sharply. "Anna, is he at home now?" "This Daniel?" "Yes. He texted me saying he got back from work." "And what are you going to do? Go home and tell him everything to his face?" Anna shook her head. "No. If I go back now and confront him, he'll deny it. Or worse, he'll confess, cry, beg, promise to change. I know men like that. They always find the right words. She fell silent, staring at the flash drive. What? Sophie asked softly. I want him to know what it feels like to be humiliated. I want him to feel what I felt today. Sophie sat beside her and took her hand. You want revenge? Yes. Anna looked directly into her eyes. I do. They laughed at me, Sophie. Made plans to trick me, take my apartment, and throw me away. They thought I was an idiot who'd never understand what was happening. I want them to regret it. Her mother lifted her head and wiped her tears. Anna, sweetheart, I know you were hurting, but revenge, is that really right? Mom, he stole 6 months of my life. He stole my faith in people. He wanted to steal my apartment, the only thing I have left from Grandma. I can't just walk away and forget it. She's right, her father said. That bastard deserves what's coming to him. Sophie thought for a moment, then nodded. Okay. If you've decided, I am with you. What's your plan? Anna straightened her back and wiped away the last of her tear. Inside her, everything was still burning. But now it was no longer just the fire of pain. It was determination. I want to gather all the guests, all the people who were at the wedding. I want to host a second-day celebration, like people sometimes do, invite everyone back to the same restaurant and show them this recording. Sophie let out a low whistle. Whoa, you were serious? Completely. I want everyone to see who he really is. I want everyone to know what kind of friend Olivia truly is. I want them to feel ashamed in front of the people they deceived. But he'll be there too, her mother said. Daniel, he's your husband, he'll come. Exactly. Anna clenched her fists. I want him there. I want him to watch everything collapse. I want him to see the guests' faces when they learn the truth. Her father nodded with approval. That's a plan. A good one. I'll help you. What needs to be done? Anna thought for a moment, then began organizing everything in her mind. First, we need to arrange the restaurant with Peterson, the manager. He already knows the situation, and he'll help me. We need to rent the hall for Saturday evening, the day after tomorrow. We'll say it's a continuation of the wedding celebration. And the money? Her mother asked. Renting a venue isn't cheap. I have savings. Besides, it doesn't need to be a full banquet. Just light refreshments and drinks. The important thing is getting everyone there. Sophie pulled out her phone and began making notes. What next? Invitations. We need to call everyone who attended the wedding. Tell them Daniel and I want to continue celebrating and invite them back. Most of them will come. Something like this doesn't happen often. Olivia will definitely come, Sophie said. She loves parties. And Daniel won't refuse either. What if he gets suspicious? Her mother asked carefully. He won't. He's convinced I know nothing. To him, I'm still the same naive little Anna who believes every word he says. Sophie snorted. Then he's made a mistake. He underestimated you. Exactly. Anna felt her confidence growing stronger. Now the technical part. We need a projector in the restaurant. A big screen. Peterson can help with that. I'll say I want to show the guests a wedding video. The photographer made a montage. No one will question it. And when will you play the real recording? Her father asked. Right in the middle of the evening. Yes. Yes. Once everyone arrives, eats, relaxes. I'll stand up, say a few words, then play the video on the big screen. With sound. My God, her mother whispered. It'll shock everyone. Good, Anna said firmly. Let everyone know the truth. Sophie looked at her with admiration. You know, I always thought you were too gentle. But now I see when it matters, you know how to be strong. Anna gave a crooked smile. I'm just tired of being the one everyone thinks is harmless. The teacher. The good girl who never hurts anyone. But they hurt me, and I'm not staying silent. They sat in the kitchen for another hour discussing details. Her father wrote everything down in a notebook. Sophie made a guest list from memory. Her mother brewed tea and brought cookies, though no one really ate. Anna felt the plan taking shape, becoming real, and that gave her strength. When night fell, she called the restaurant. Mr. Peterson answered after the third ring. Anna Sergeyevna, how are you? I've been thinking about you all day. Thank you, Anna said calmly and confidently. Mr. Peterson, I need your help. I'd like to rent your hall for Saturday evening. I want to host the second day of the wedding celebration. Saturday arrived faster than Anna expected. For 2 days, she stayed home playing the role of the happy newlywed wife. She smiled at Daniel over breakfast. Asked how his day had gone. Cooked dinner. He noticed nothing. He was the same as always, kissing her on the cheek, telling stories from work, making plans for the weekend. Anna looked at him and no longer recognized him. How had she never seen it before? How had she never felt the falsehood in every word, in every gesture? On Friday evening, Daniel asked, "Listen, is this second wedding celebration definitely happening tomorrow? Maybe we should cancel. I'm kind of tired." Anna froze at the stove, stirring the soup. Her heart skipped. Not this. Anything but this. She couldn't let him refuse now. Dan, come on, she said lightly, forcing her voice to stay calm. I already invited everyone and paid for the restaurant. Everyone's expecting it. Let's not cancel. It's only one evening. He shrugged. Fine. One evening then. Anna exhaled in relief. Everything was still going according to plan. Saturday morning, she woke early. Daniel was still asleep, sprawled across half the bed. She dressed quietly, took her purse, and left the apartment. She drove straight to the restaurant. Mr. Peterson was already there, directing the waitstaff as they prepared the tables. Good morning, Anna Sergeyevna. He approached her, drying his hands with a towel. Everything is ready. Tables for 40 guests, buffet menu as arranged. The projector is set up and the screen as well. Anna looked toward the center of the hall. There stood a large white screen on a tripod. Beside it, on a small table, sat the projector. Cables stretched toward an outlet in the corner. Thank you. She handed him the flash drive. Here's the recording. Can you make sure everything works? Mr. Peterson inserted the drive into the projector and turned it on. The image froze on the screen. The storage room. That exact moment when Daniel and Olivia were kissing. Anna turned away. It still hurt to see it, though not as sharply as the first time. The pain had dulled, replaced by something colder. Resolve. Everything works, the manager said, switching the projector off. When you give me a nod, I'll start it. I tested the sound too loud enough for everyone to hear. Good. I'll go to the screen around 8 o'clock. Start it then. He nodded and handed the flash drive back. Stay strong, Anna Sergeyevna. You were doing the right thing. Anna returned home around noon. Daniel was sitting on the couch watching football. Where were you? He asked without taking his eyes off the television. Went shopping. Bought groceries for the week. Lying was becoming easier. Strange how quickly she had learned. Anna had always told the truth before. She had never known how to hide things or pretend. But when someone betrays you, when you learn your whole life has been built on lies, learning to lie becomes surprisingly simple. By 6 in the evening, they began getting ready. Anna put on the same dress she had worn to the wedding, white, simple, knee-length. Daniel looked surprised. Why the same one? You could have worn something else. I want everything to feel like that night, she said, fastening her earrings. It was beautiful. He shrugged and pulled on his suit, the same dark navy one. As he tied his tie in front of the mirror, Anna watched him and thought, the last time you stand in my apartment. The last time you stand in my life. They arrived at the restaurant at 6:50. Guests had already started arriving. Daniel's parents stood near the entrance. His mother, Lydia Ivanovna, hugged Anna warmly. Anna dear, you look beautiful. We were so happy you arranged a second celebration. Anna smiled, nodded, greeted everyone. Aunt Vera, her colleagues from school, Daniel's friends. Everyone was cheerful, lively. The tables were overflowing with food, cold appetizers, salads, hot dishes. The waiters poured wine and champagne. Sophie arrived among the first and immediately went to Anna. How are you? She asked quietly. I'm all right. Holding on. Good girl. I'm with you. They hugged. Anna realized her hands were trembling. Sophie squeezed her palm firmly. It will work. Don't be afraid. At 7:10, Olivia arrived. Tall, wearing a tight black dress and high heels. Her hair was down, her makeup bold. She entered, glanced around the room, and waved at Anna. Anna hid. She came over and kissed her on the cheek. You were unbelievable. Throwing a second party. Good for you. Anna smiled. Glad you came, Liv. Go ahead, sit wherever you like. Olivia walked to the table and sat beside Daniel. She whispered something in his ear. He laughed and patted her shoulder. Anna watched them from across the room and felt everything inside her tighten. How dare they? How dare they sit there smiling, pretending everything was normal? By 7:30 all the guests had arrived. 40 people around the tables, conversation, laughter, the clinking of glasses. Anna moved among them, speaking politely, accepting congratulations. Daniel sat in the center of it all, telling another story from the garage. Everyone around him laughed. He was completely at ease. The king of the evening. Just a little longer. Just a little more. Anna walked over to Mr. Peterson, who stood near the bar. Ready. Ready. She nodded and took a deep breath. It was time. Anna stepped into the center of the hall, stood beside the screen, and raised her hand for attention. Slowly, the conversations faded. The guests turned toward her. Dear friends, Anna began, speaking loudly and steadily. Thank you for coming tonight. Thank you for sharing our joy on the day Daniel and I were married. It was a very special evening. Guest nodded. Someone raised a glass. Daniel smiled at her proudly. I'd like to show you something, Anna continued. A video from our wedding. Mr. Peterson, the restaurant manager, was reviewing the security footage and found one moment that I believe everyone should see. Daniel frowned. Olivia froze. Her glass stopped halfway to her lips. Silence fell over the room. Anna nodded to Mr. Peterson. He switched on the projector. The large screen lit up. The storage room. Black and white footage. Timestamp 21:43. Then the door opened. Olivia entered. A moment later, Daniel followed. They closed the door, looked at each other, and kissed. Gasps exploded around the room. Someone covered their mouth. Lydia Ivanovna, Daniel's mother, turned pale. Anna's father clenched his fists as he stared at the screen. Daniel leapt to his feet. Anna, what is this? Turn it off right now. But Anna stood motionless, eyes fixed on the screen. And on that screen, Daniel and Olivia sat on the sofa smoking, talking. Then the sound began. I thought I wouldn't survive it. Watching you dance with her all evening, kissing her. Damn, Dan, I almost lost my mind. Olivia's voice rang through the hall. The guests froze, unable to believe what they were hearing. Oh, come on. Just hold on a little longer. Everything is going according to plan. Daniel's voice clear and unmistakable. According to plan. And what about May? When she whispers to me, "Thank you for being here for me, dear friend." It makes me sick. Olivia laughed on the recording, and the sound echoed across the room. Guests began exchanging glances, whispering. Some stood up to get a better view of the screen. You were not sick. You were an actress. You played your part perfectly. Daniel tried to rush toward the projector, but Sophie and Anna's father stepped in front of him. "Stay there, son-in-law," her father said in an icy voice. "Watch until the end." What the hell? This is some kind of mistake. Shut up and watch. Her father shoved him back toward the table. On the screen, Olivia asked, "How much longer are we supposed to keep this comedy going? When are you finally divorcing her?" A deathly silence filled the room. No one even seemed to breathe. Everyone looked at the screen. Then at Daniel. Then back at the screen. "Don't rush. We need to do this properly. First she'll transfer the apartment into my name. Then we wait 3 or 4 months so it doesn't look suspicious. After that, divorce is easy. The apartment stays with me, and then you and I can finally live the way we planned." Lydia Ivanovna cried out and covered her face with both hands. Peter, Daniel's father, slowly stood up and stared at his son as if seeing him for the first time. "Dima, what is this?" Lydia whispered. "What have you done?" Daniel stood in the middle of the hall, white as a sheet. His lips moved, but no words came. Olivia tried to rise and grabbed her purse, but Sophie stepped in front of her. "Sit down," Sophie said sharply. "You were watching this to the end." The conversation on the screen continued. "And what if she refuses to transfer it?" "She will. I've already started working on her. I keep telling her we should put everything in both our names so I can feel like a real head of the household. She thinks it's about equality in marriage. Gullible fool. Give it 2 more weeks and she'll run to the government office herself." Olivia laughed on the recording. "Damn, you're a genius. Seriously, getting a school teacher to fall for you was ridiculously easy." Anna's colleagues from school gasped. Marina Petrovna, the vice principal, stood up and looked at Daniel with such hatred that he instinctively stepped back. Well, what did you expect? She was lonely. No man, boring life working at a school for pennies. Then I show up, handsome guy, attentive, flowers, compliments. She practically threw herself at me. People around the hall began rising from their seats. Someone cursed out loud. Daniel's friends stared at him in disgust. One of them, Sergei, who worked with him at the garage, shook his head. "You were a complete monster." On the screen, Daniel pulled Olivia closer and kissed her neck. "You know I only love you. Annie is just a way to solve our housing problems. She has a 2-bedroom apartment downtown, mortgage-free. We'll sell it, buy ourselves something decent, and live off the rest." Peter, Daniel's father, slowly walked toward his son. His face was red. His hands trembled. You deceived this girl. Married her for an apartment." Daniel opened his mouth, but his father did not let him speak. He swung his arm and slapped him across the face. The crack of the slap echoed like a gunshot. Daniel staggered backward, clutching his cheek. "Dad, what are you?" "I don't know you," Peter hissed. "You are no son of mine." Lydia Ivanovna wept with her head in her hands. Anna's mother walked over and embraced her. The 2 women stood together, watching as the recording neared its end. "I should get back before Sophie starts looking for me." "Go ahead. I'll come out in a couple of minutes, so we were not seen together." "Okay. Love you." "Love you too." One last kiss. Olivia left. Daniel remained alone. The recording ended. The screen went black. Anna stood beside it, looking across the hall. Everyone was watching her. Some with sympathy. Some with shock. Some with admiration. Slowly, she raised her left hand, removed her wedding ring, and walked to the table where Daniel stood. He stared at her, mouth open, unable to say a word. Anna placed the ring on the table in front of him. Quietly, calmly, "Here's your ring, Dan. You are no longer my husband. I'm filing for divorce on Monday. You will not get the apartment. You will get nothing except disgrace." He reached for her hand. "Anna, wait. This isn't what you think. I can explain." She jerked her hand away as if from fire. "Do not touch me. Do not come near me. Get out of my apartment tonight. If your things are still there in 1 hour, I'll throw them in the trash." "Anna, please, shut up," she shouted. "You stole 6 months of my life. You played with me like I was a toy." Anna turned to Olivia. "And you laughed at me behind my back. You thought I was an idiot, that I'd never find out. But I did. And now everyone knows exactly who you both are." Olivia jumped to her feet and grabbed her purse. "I'm not staying here to listen to this," she spat. "Oh yes, you are." Sophie stepped in front of her. "If you want to leave, then go. But everyone here now knows what kind of person you are. A friend who sleeps with another woman's husband. A woman who plots to steal her friend's home. Go ahead, Olivia, run. But remember, everyone will hear about this. I'll make sure of it personally." Olivia went pale. She looked around at the guests. Every face was filled with contempt. She spun around and ran from the hall, her heels striking the floor sharply. The door slammed behind her. Daniel still stood by the table, confused, shattered, broken. His mother approached him, tears streaming down her face. "How could you, Dan? How could you do this to that girl?" He said nothing. His father grabbed him by the shoulder and turned him around. "Pack your things, move out of Anna's apartment, and never show your face to her again. Do you hear, Meb?" "But Dad, do you hear, Meb?" Daniel nodded, lowering his head. Peter shoved him away. "Get out." "No." Daniel walked toward the exit. The guests stepped aside for him as if he were diseased. No one said a word. He left the hall, and the door closed behind him. Anna stood in the center of the room, feeling the tension of the past few days drain out of her, leaving only emptiness and exhaustion. Her father came over and wrapped an arm around her shoulders. "It's over now, sweetheart. It's over." She leaned into him, finally allowing herself to relax. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but these were tears of relief. "I did it, Dad." "You did. I'm proud of you." One by one, the guests came to her. Her colleagues from school hugged her and offered words of support. Marina Petrovna, the vice principal, took her hand. "Anna, you are a true heroine. Not every woman would have the courage to do what you did. You showed everyone that you are not someone to be underestimated." Daniel's friends came too, apologizing, saying they never knew what kind of man he really was. "We thought he was decent," Sergei said. "If we had known what he was planning, we would be beaten him ourselves." Aunt Vera cried as she hugged Anna. "My poor girl, how did you survive all this? But you did the right thing by speaking up. Let everyone know the truth." Lydia Ivanovna came last. Her face was swollen from crying, her eyes red. "Anna, forgive me. Forgive me for my son. I had no idea he was capable of something like this. I'm so ashamed." Anna embraced her. "This is not your fault, Lydia Ivanovna. You are good people. Your son simply chose the wrong path. I no longer recognize him. To me, he is dead." Anna silently nodded. Lydia hugged her once more and left with her husband. Gradually, the guests began to leave. Some stayed a little longer, talking with Anna and supporting her. Others slipped away quietly, still processing everything they had witnessed. By 10 o'clock, only Anna, her parents, Sophie, and Mr. Peterson remained. "Thank you," Anna said to the manager. "Without you, I couldn't have done this." "You were welcome. I'm glad it ended this way." Justice was served. They stepped outside the restaurant. The night was cold and windy. Anna stopped beside the car and looked up at the sky. The stars shimmered in the darkness, distant and indifferent. "Mom, Dad, let's go to my place. We need to see if he took his things." "Of course, sweetheart. Let's go." They arrived at the apartment 20 minutes later. Anna climbed to the 4th floor and opened the door. The hallway was quiet and dark. She turned on the light. Daniel's shoes were gone. In the bedroom, the closet was empty, his clothes taken. In the bathroom, no razor. No toothbrush. He was gone. Anna walked into the living room and sat on the sofa. Her parents sat beside her. Sophie brought tea. "How are you?" her mother asked softly. "I don't know," Anna answered honestly. "It feels easier, but it still hurts." "It will pass," her father said. "Time heals." Anna nodded. She believed him. Someday it truly would pass. But for now the pain was still fresh, sharp as an open wound. She spent the weekend with her parents and Sophie. They talked, remembered, laughed, and cried. On Monday, Anna returned to work. The children in her class greeted her with joyful shouts, hugging her and showing her drawings. She smiled, answered their questions, and taught her lessons. Life went on. On Wednesday, she filed for divorce. The lawyer said the process would take no more than a month. Daniel did not object. He signed every paper without argument. The apartment remained Anna's. It had been legally hers before the marriage, and Daniel had no claim to it. 1 month passed, then 2, then 3. Autumn came, then winter. Anna worked, met friends, visited her parents. In the evenings, she stayed home, reading books and watching films. Gradually, the pain began to fade. It never disappeared completely, the scar remained. But life became easier. One day in March, Anna was sitting in her kitchen with her friends Sophie and Marina from school. They were drinking tea, eating pie, and chatting about everything and nothing. "You know, Anna," Sophie said, "I really respect what you did back then. Not every woman would have had the courage." "Oh, come on," Anna smiled. "I just didn't want to stay silent." "No, really. You showed everyone that betrayal should never be tolerated. That you have to fight for yourself." Marina nodded. "I agree. And honestly, after that whole story, I realized something myself: you can't trust blindly. You always have to keep your eyes open." Anna took a sip of tea and looked out the window. Snow was falling outside, soft, white, peaceful. Spring had not arrived yet, but it could already be felt in the air. Soon it would grow warmer, the ice would melt, buds would bloom. A new life. "You know what's strangest?" Anna said quietly. "I'm grateful to him." "What?" Sophie nearly choked on her tea. To Daniel." "You're kidding." "No." She smiled faintly. "I'm grateful because he showed me the truth. Because he taught me not to be naive. Because he forced me to become stronger." She paused for a moment. "If this had never happened, I would still be the quiet schoolteacher who was afraid to stand up for herself. But now I know I can. I know I can survive anything." Sophie leaned over and hugged her. "You were amazing, Annie. Truly." They sat there in the kitchen talking and laughing. Snow continued to fall outside. Anna felt free. Free from lies. Free from betrayal. Free from the man who had tried to use her. She was alone again, but this time it did not frighten her. On the contrary, solitude felt honest, clean. And ahead of her lay an entire life. New meetings. New people. New possibilities. Maybe one day she would trust someone again. But now she would be more careful, wiser, stronger. And that was the most important lesson she had taken from everything that happened. Thank you for listening to this story. Write in the comments what you think.